Hope you're doing well. Today's topic will be the Great War. This will be a little overview of World War I. Very quickly, let's jump into it. Summer 1914, it's July 28th. Archduke Franz Ferdinand is assassinated. From there, the war breaks out. Now, the Germans start with what's called the Schlieffen Plan. It's a large sweeping motion from Germany through Belgium into France. They're trying to take Paris, but the Allies stop them. At the First Battle of the Marne, the French call it the Miracle at the Marne, the Taxi Brigade, which is just a bunch of taxis that bring French soldiers to the Marne River. The BEF and the British forces arrive, and somehow the Allies stop the German advance. They win the Battle of Marne. From there, both sides try to outflank each other as they move north towards the English Channel. This is called the Race to the Sea. When they get there, nobody was able to outflank, and what the Germans do is they dig a trench, they dig in to hold their position, and the Allies dig in return. Then two trenches are going to run all the way across France as bloody, brutal trench warfare breaks out for the first time in history. Now, on the Western Front, no one is able to break through the trench warfare. No one is able to break through that stalemate in the system that's there in place. And for the rest of the war, both sides are going to try to wear each other out and find some new technological advantage to get through, but it never will happen. Now, that's the Western Front. On the Eastern Front, there's actually a lot of movement. On the Eastern Front, the Empire of Germany, the German Empire, is defeating the Russians. Now, the Russians have the largest army in the world going into the war, but they're just ill-equipped. They don't have weapons, they don't have boots, and the Tsar Nicholas is not a good military commander. So the Russians are continuing to lose. They're going to be beaten down so hard that eventually they'll just surrender after they have a revolution breaks out in Russia in 1917. The Russian revolutions take place, and Russia will be knocked out of the war. But until then, the Allies are working on trying to find a way to break the stalemate. And new technology is being used. When we move into 1915, in 1915, the Germans at Second Ypres use chemical warfare for the first time, and that becomes a staple of trench warfare. The Allies try to break the stalemate and get some movement by trying to seize Gallipoli and retake Constantinople, which is Istanbul, from the Ottoman Empire. That's a failure. They try new weapons. The Battle of the Somme, we move into 1916. This is the deadliest battle. The first day of the battle is the British's worst day in military history. It's their bloodiest day. Over 1 million casualties at the Somme. It's this massive Allied offensive. They think with this large offensive, maybe we can break through the stalemate. But they introduce tanks for the first time at the Somme, but it's not enough. The results are inconclusive. They can't break through the stalemate. The Germans introduce the flamethrower at Verdun, and they use the flamethrower to try to take the historical city of Verdun from the French. But the French are going to hold them off, and they're going to say, they shall not pass, and they're going to hold the line. The results are, the French hold the line. Nobody breaks through, and the stalemate continues. Now, 1950 is also important to back up a year because Italy joins on the side of the Allies, and they'll be fighting the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and they kind of cancel each other out as they fight in the Alps. Moving to 1917, after the major offensives of 1916, that's a big year because the Russian Revolution happens, and as they drop out of the war, the United States joins the war. Now, by this point, after 3 years of continual fighting in the trenches and being worn down, some fresh American troops go a long ways for the Allies. Not only do you get the economical gains from having the U.S. industry at your back coming right off the Gilded Age, but you also have some troops with some high morale. And what happens is the United States, it gives that little extra push to go ahead and make Germany surrender. Germany doesn't lose World War I militarily. They don't lose the battles on the battlefield. They just can't continue to fight. Their economy back at home, it can just not handle it anymore. They're about to have a communist revolution of themselves, they say. They just can't take it anymore. They just can't continue to fight. They don't have the support. So Germany has to surrender as their economy wasn't supporting them enough. So the Allies win. They sign the armistice in 1918 at the 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month. In 1918, the armistice is signed, and the Great War is ended. That's a quick overview. Thanks for listening today.